By my estimation, thousands of developers have tried the Gilded Rose Refactoring Kata. It's by far the most popular exercise on my GitHub pages, with over 4,000 forks. And I've got loads of translations in my repo, over 50 programming languages, most of which were contributed by other people. It's also included in the Arctic Code Vault, so it will be preserved for future generations of programmers to puzzle over why such a bad piece of code ever made it in there. Because fundamentally that's what this is, it's bad code. So why has such a strange little piece of code got so much attention? Hi, I'm Emily Bache, software developer and creator of Saman Coaching. In my channel, you can find content for technical coaches and lead developers. If you like what you see, please hit subscribe and like. This is the scenario. You have just been hired by the Gilded Rose establishment, which is a small inn with a prime location, and the previous developer, Leroy, has just moved on to new adventures.
Goodbye.
The goods sold in the inn are somewhat unusual, and the business rules governing their value are a little confusing. Your job is to develop the system further to support a new kind of product, conjured items. It's all a bit magical and fantastic, and it takes a lot of inspiration from the World of Warcraft, which I've never played, but I'm told all the characters come from that game. You don't actually need to know any of that to do the exercise. Basically, it's an information system with Byzantine business rules and a half-complete spec. Exactly what you're probably used to. So the code is not all that long, but just check out that indentation. We have a serious bumpy road going down there. The logic is, to say the least, tangled. And at first glance, it looks pretty difficult to change anything without breaking the code. Many developers have that experience daily with their production code. But the thing with this exercise is it's not real. So you can try stuff out and discover what works and what doesn't work in an arena where it doesn't matter if it all goes horribly wrong. Once you get the hang of a few refactoring techniques, you can actually clean up the code pretty quickly. So you go from, oh, this code is terrible, I can't change anything, to, no problem, I can fix this. Quite a short amount of time from one to the other, and that's why it's so fun. I didn't invent this exercise. It was originally presented by Terry Hughes in 2011 as a challenge to his colleagues. And I heard about it when Bobby Johnson wrote a blog post and put the starting code up on GitHub. I was intrigued. The code looked bad, and I like a challenge. The thing is, the original code was in C#, which at the time wasn't a language I'd done much work in. So I wanted to do it in Java or Python, my preferred languages at the time. And I didn't find it all that difficult to translate most of it. But the starting point was a little awkward to get a unit and test in place for, so I modified it a bit. And I think I simplified it and made it a bit easier to get going with the refactoring. As you know, I'm a big fan of approval testing, so I also took the time to add a suite of tests in my preferred approval testing tool, Text Test. And when I played with the exercise a bit myself, I thought it might be good to use this in a coding dojo, and I was doing one at the time, so I thought, well, okay, I need to set this up in CyberDojo, which is the tool we were using. It's still up and very useful. You should check it out. John Jaggett invented it. There's a link in the show notes. Anyway, to get it set up in there, I needed it to have a unit test and not text test. So I created just this single failing unit test and added it to the starting position. Having that test there, failing, it's like an open invitation to any slightly OCD programming nerd to come in, oh, I've got to fix that. And then you get drawn in. And I think that's part of the reason for the popularity of it. I really recommend having a go at this exercise. You can pick pretty much any programming language that you like, even UML or XSLT. Yeah, really. It turns out you can write really bad procedural style code in any programming language. and I'm constantly surprised by the pull requests that I get with translations. In fact, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of the contributors. So many fun and interesting programming languages. And if your favourite is not in there already, you could fix that. Send me a pull request. Before you do any refactoring, make sure you have some good tests. Either begin with the failing unit test that draws you in and write your own suite of unit tests, or you could try and work out how to use the approval tests that are there with text test. Then you can open the code in your best refactoring IDE, get stuck in. Happy coding!